Welcome to another Games Talk Live podcast. This is episode number 20, and today I've got the fabulous Colt Eastwood to make his great return again. What's up, man? How's it going?
Fonz! Fonz! Yeah, one of my old ancient friends from long ago.
From a whole 4.5 years ago or so.
Yep. One of the original OGs. Yeah.
OG RDX right here. All we need is Dealer Gaming all day and Luca. That's all we need. Yep,
that would be the OGs.
I want to say what's up to the chat right now. We've got Gone Mad, Toolman, Sappho, Nix, Tyler. I almost said my own name. Fonzarelli, what's up to you two? Stubbs Gaming, Gaming Fire. It's good to see you guys. I'm sure more will come in as we go along here, Colt, because you draw a lot of crowd, usually anyway, and I appreciate that. Today we're going to talk about just a few topics here. Nothing's really going on in the way of gaming news, honestly. The biggest news is, of course, the PlayStation stuff with Jim Ryan. We're going to get into that, of course. But we're going to talk about some other stuff, some games that have come out, and or a beta at least for one, and the other one is a full-fledged game, Colt, and we've been playing it and having a good time with that. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But first, Colt, I want to talk a little bit about you. Now, you've been here once before. We've got your backstory, or your origin story, if you will. If you were a hero, I see you're wearing the Ant-Man shirt today. Marvel in the house. He had to pick one of the worst characters ever to wear on the show. I understand how it goes, Colt.
Hey, man, it's Paul Rudd. That's
Paul
all
Rudd.
I care about.
Is that Paul Rudd, though? Is it?
That's all I care about is that Paul Rudd is Ant-Man.
No, I enjoyed the movie.
Why I watched it.
Yeah, I enjoyed the movie. What's up to Eternal Umbra, my brother in the house? Thanks for being here. Colt, so we all know about the backstory with you. I mean, basically, dealer picked you up out of the dumpster, brought you onto RDX, and you became a sensation in the Xbox gaming community. You're now at, how many subscribers are you at now?
138,000.
138,000.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, you could say, "Oh, I'm a little over 100,000," but those numbers mean a lot to me. Like, so I keep an eye on them.
Oh,
like
no, I'm sure. Yeah,
it really does. Like,
of course,
I wouldn't tell you. I don't actually look at what the hundreds place is or the tens place. At least not lately. That's interesting. This past summer, things are really wind down because we had this big push for Xbox One X, Series X, and all these E3s and all the new hardware and everything that was coming up, and everything's kind of slowed down. Like you're saying, there's not a lot of news, but there is a lot to talk about. I kind of got to the point where I'm like, I'm not going to watch the minute part of the numbers anymore because it could be distracting, really distracting. But I do know 138,000.
Jonathan Hayes says, Fonz, I'm finally catching a live. Woo! Yes, finally. Thank you for catching the show live. I appreciate it. Of course, we are live here on YouTube, but after the fact, if you want to listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, all those streaming platforms, my show is out on all of them. Feel free to do so or catch it live on demand right here on YouTube. I appreciate that as well. Any way you catch our shows, right, Cole? It doesn't matter. Just any way you consume them. It helps out the show a lot. It really helps out if you hit the like button as well. So if you hit the like button, I appreciate it.
Yeah, as I went like this. It's funny.
Punching your thumb.
It's cool that you went right to the podcast platforms immediately once you started the show. You and I both did that because people tell me they appreciate it. They can listen to your show like the next day when they're at the gym or when they're on a walk or taking a drive or driving to work. I think it's so cool. It's so cool.
And, of course, all these fabulous people down below that are scrolling, you can see this right down below. Those are all my channel members that support me on my channel. I appreciate you guys so much. There's many of you there, and I appreciate it. If anybody wants to join, you can hit the join button as well. That's always available. And, and you will see your name scroll here on every show.
When, us growing up, like the
all the announcers and stuff, like and
they did they always did this and it's a new car, the 1986 Toyota Corolla, and they would
you picked the wrong door and it was like you picked the wrong door and it was like a jackass behind it, like a real jackass. It was like a new bedroom set, and the contestant next to you was going to win like a boat and and a big trip, and they're going all around the world and everything,
and
you've got
system.
You've got a bed and 2 nightstands, and you're like, thanks, don't need it.
But hey, Lady Foxfire, True Racer in the chat too.
Yeah, what's up, guys? We're just reminiscing over here on 80s game show nostalgia here, basically. And, of course, that's one thing I like to do here with my guest, Colt. So let's get right into that. Why don't we? Let's go ahead and get into some 5 questions, man, because I know you love it so much.
I do. I love this. This is the best part of any podcast.
Oh, really? All right.
Yes,
we'll see how you do today. 5 questions. All right, Colt, 5 questions. 4 questions, of course, are trivia. 1 is subjective. Really, honestly, I don't know why I'm going to ask you that question. We've already, you know what? I'm going to ask a different one for you at the end. But here we go.
Okay.
Got to have the ominous music playing. All right. Here's your first question. Cool. What console did Sonic the Hedgehog first appear on?
The Sega. I think it was just a Sega.
Sega what?
Master System?
Come on! It was the Genesis. It had to have the blast processing. Don't you remember this?
But was that the second Sega
yes,
console?
The 16-bit console.
Oh my gosh, I thought it was on the first. I never owned one.
Oh, can't believe you got that wrong, guys.
I went over to my neighbor's house when I think the Nintendo was out, and he had a Sega, and he had a couple games that I'd never seen before. I'm like,
Okay.
I suck.
Well, we're going to get into question number 2 here because you sucked at that one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This, okay, I can't even read my... Okay, this first-person shooter was developed by id Software and released by GT Interactive in 1996.
96?
First-person shooter?
Yeah.
id Software, GT Interactive published it.
GT Interactive. I know that Doom came out in 93, and Wolfenstein was before that. 96. Was it Quake?
Quake. Yes. Got it right. The Kingdom
Nick says the music's getting me already. Yes, you're making me so nervous.
All right. So, the Kingdom of Hyrule is the setting for which classic video game franchise?
The Legend of Zelda.
Correct. Name the okay, so this one's kind of hard. We've been playing the Far Cry 6. Well, I want you to name the protagonist in Far Cry 3.
The main character?
Yeah.
I don't know his last name. His name is Jason. Oh man, I have to have the whole name, huh?
Yes, you do.
Okay,
Jason.
Man, I freaking love that game.
I know, I do too.
That is a tough one. Oh shoot! I got.
Sir, would you like to phone a friend? No, I'm just
yes,
kidding.
I would love to phone. How about if somebody in the chat could give me the first letter of his last name? That would in the chat. That would be considered a phone a friend.
Somebody said Jason Derulo.
Oh, that's funny, Jason Derulo.
It's actually Jason. Okay, so there's a B there. There's a B.
There's a B.
It's
in
a
the
B.
beginning of his last name.
Yes.
Then I wouldn't remember it. I thought it was an M.
Jason Brody. Jason Brody.
Oh, yeah. I should
all right, so
that.
Instead of favorite gaming experience of all time, name me your favorite Xbox game of all time.
Oh,
we don't need the music for that. We don't need the music for that.
That's so awesome. Favorite Xbox exclusive. Exclusive.
Yeah. Exclusive.
Crackdown 3.
I'm not accepting that answer. You were a big fat loser today. No,
my gosh.
No, it's always fun to play that game with people.
It's easily Forza Horizon 5. Easily.
Forza Horizon.
Yeah, without even thinking about it.
Yeah. Horizon 5?
3.
3. Okay.
Did I say
okay.
3?
There you go. I'll accept that answer, but
no, yeah, it's easily Forza Horizon 3.
I'm not accepting Crackdown 3 or 2. Maybe I would accept 1 from somebody. I don't know, because back then 1 was pretty decent. So I don't know. Anyways,
yeah, all right.
let's move on here. Let's talk a little bit about some games. Well, let's talk about a beta that came out recently. I was going to put up footage, and then I was afraid DICE or EA would confiscate my channel and never let me monetize again. You know how they are. So I'm not putting up any footage of Battlefield, unfortunately, people. But let's go ahead and talk about the beta, Colt. I know you've played a little bit of it. What's your feelings on it so far?
Delay it.
delay it.
Oh my
really.
gosh. No, I don't want to start off with that.
Okay. Let me hear your honest feelings, man.
It looks really good. It looks like Battlefield 5, those visuals are really great. I'm playing on a much more powerful console than I was on the One X, but the game looks very similar to the quality of Battlefield 5, which is a really nice looking, really nice looking game.
It is.
It's got graphical glitches and weird camera judder, frame rate issues pop in. Loading games is fine. Like, I wasn't kicked out of matches. Didn't have a hard time getting matches to party up with friends. That was all smooth. It does some really impressive stuff. But people are really concerned on PC and console that the game isn't quite ready. And then there's others damage controlling that we're looking at an 8-month-old build, which I don't believe that. So that's a whole other discussion.
I experienced the bugs you did as well on the Series X, and I thought that I had some smooth gameplay here and there, but every time you move the camera around, it seemed like there was some graphical glitches, like some weird pop-up or something that would happen, and that's unfortunate. And I know there was only 4 operators on the screen at one time. I mean, so everybody kind of looked the same. Like you were one of the 4 that ran around this, and that was kind of confusing, I guess, unless you saw the little red name, above them. But it just, I know that'll be fixed when the game comes out. I know there'll be more skins and stuff, but yeah, I just, I wasn't really feeling it as much as I thought I would.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I was playing it by myself. I didn't get a chance to play with you, Dealer, or anybody else really. But I just felt like it's Battlefield. I mean, it looks great. The foliage and stuff, the grass looks incredible. I thought the animations looked great too. My only problem with the graphics would be, like, again, it goes back to the character skins. And I thought some of the people looked very generic and just doesn't look right. Like, the eyes look dead and just, I don't know. There was just,
doesn't it look right. Doesn't it look like the past couple of Battlefields to you when you look at it?
Kind of, yeah.
Does it look next generation to you, Fonz?
I'd say the foliage looks really good. But
Didn't the foliage look really good in the last game? I thought that stuff all looked great.
It looks great, but I think it looks a little better this time. Okay. True Racer says, I barely even got it to run on my Xbox One X. And Game DVR was DOL, dead on arrival.
Yeah, they disabled Game DVR for people on console. So
that sucks, because that's the only way I would have got footage anyway. So
yeah, and it's also smart because people would have been more readily sharing clips of how there were problems. Like if I had a gun with a scope or an ACOG, when I would look in, I would get big triangles of flashing flat 2D textures, like cutting in and out of the view.
Yeah. I like the fact that they were letting you change bullets on the fly, like, the type of bullets.
Like Crisis and stuff. And some of the other
that
games
was cool. But do you think that's going to stay? Or are they going to change that around?
I mean, why not? It's better than going into a menu. Like if you can crouch behind a crate. And it's quick because it's set to a north, south, east, west thing, which correlates with your controller.
Yeah.
So when the gun's pointing, this is your muzzle, this is your magazine, this is your stock, and this is your sight, or whatever it is, vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's pretty quick. Like you can do that. You could change your equipment much faster than opening a menu in a live game and getting shot.
It's true.
I think people could get quicker at that. And
Eternal Umbra for the $5 says, morning, Fonz and Colt. I wanted to send you guys love and support for the channel. Keep pushing forward, brother. I am, brother. I'm trying to, and Colt is doing his own thing as well. Check out XNC on Mondays. That's tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for us. But
for a little while, yeah.
For a little while. What's that mean, Colt?
Well, I mean, daylight savings or whatever comes to an end soon.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, yeah, for a little while.
Graphics.
Yeah. So anyway. So I'm just not really big on Battlefield right now with the beta anyway. And part of the reason for this was because we had a game that dropped And the game that dropped, of course, is kind of polarizing in the community, which is kind of shocking to me right now, Colt. And that, of course, is Far Cry 6. Now, Far Cry 6 is a game that if you're a fan of the series, I don't believe you're out there saying, well, I wanted something different. But there's people out there who were saying this, and I just don't know if they're huge Far Cry fans, Colt. I don't know.
I feel like they're saying this after the game came out. Like, if you didn't... We've already seen gameplay footage of it from like 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
I've captured it and kind of banked it to use in other videos if I needed to. So we've seen what the game looked like. I feel like now that the game's out and they've seen people play it, they're like, oh, it's the same. Like, what did you think was going to happen? And here comes the gameplay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm showing some gameplay here. This is just some of my own gameplay that I'm showing. Hopefully, I don't get flagged for this like I did when I showed some gameplay of mine a couple of weeks back on the show.
You got flagged for showing actual gameplay that you recorded of you playing?
No. Actually, no, it was not gameplay. It was a trailer, but it had too much violence, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay.
But anyway, this is just some footage. I had a great time, man. Just running around sniping people. That's my favorite thing to do in Far Cry games. I love sniping, and it's just such a fun game. So far, I'm having a blast with it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You're going to line up 2 in one shot. That's nice. Yeah, it's such a good game. I don't know. Like, people often ask me, like, should I buy this game? And I don't want to help people spend their money, but I've played to death these past like 5 or 6 Far Cry games. You include New Dawn, and then the expansions. And of course, I've gotten fatigued of the formula, but that doesn't mean I've had so much fun this weekend playing it. Like, I've got my money's worth easily.
Missed a headshot there, but yeah, I know you've gotten a chance to play with Dealer, and you had a blast with that. I have not had a chance to play, with somebody yet, but I do definitely want to jump in with someone and play the game, and try that out. But so far, I've just been having a blast on my own. Just even going around, just doing the forts, like taking over forts and stuff, like I'm doing here. It's just fun. Like this is what I like about Far Cry. Hargeet, my boy Hargeet says it's a Far Cry-ass Far Cry game. He's right. It's a Far Cry game. What do you expect? This is what I expect from Far Cry games. You get to run around and take over forts and, climb ladders and big tall buildings to scope out the area, look at all the people that are running around, tag all the enemy soldiers, and then shoot them. And you can do it the way you want. You can run in guns blazing or try to be stealthy like I am and just take them out one by one.
I think they took out a lot of the things that most people have been griping about for a couple years. Like,
and what are those
you no
things?
longer have to climb towers to unlock regions. There's just some of those things that were annoying. There's a bunch of things in Far Cry New Dawn they implemented where they just kind of took those things and kind of flipped them inside out and got them the right way. And one of those things is like level gating certain enemies or weapons. Like, they had this level system in Far Cry New Dawn that was really cool. I know not a lot of people played that game with the pink and yellow and blue spray paint, but it did some stuff that was kind of annoying. And they kind of took that level system and said, what if we just kind of tear it apart and rearrange it? And what they came up here with is kind of like a very non-invasive RPG in a way. Like, you kind of level up your destructive chaos. It's almost like a Just Cause game, isn't it, Fonz?
Yeah, and Kevin W. in here says, is the map still full of collectible padding? Yeah, you know what? There is definitely a lot of pad in the game. I think you'll get that with every
But
Ubisoft
you're collecting
game.
Resources this time. Instead, you're picking up, like, plastic idols or trinkets in Far Cry 3 and 4. Now you're collecting,
stuff
wires,
you may want to
metal,
use.
gasoline, kind of like Fallout. But like, they've really simplified the materials. Like, you go to the materials and you go to a bench or workbench or a vendor and you're like, oh, I have plenty of that, so I want that gun. It's really, really dumbed down in a way where you can enjoy the game without worrying about, inventory management.
And I would say that they actually give you more at the beginning of the game than we have in previous Far Cry.
Almost too much.
You think it's a little too much?
Yeah. Well, it's not really a complaint, but like, I unlocked this really cool fireworks missile launcher an hour and a half in the game, and normally in video games, you don't get those really cool things till way later, and then you just go bombastic on in the open world. But here they kind of reward you a little too quickly, and you don't feel that grind of, hey, I came here and I'm going to start the revolution. But I think also at the expense, I've also played in these areas on your screen, but at that expense, I think you kind of get into the fun a little quicker, and there isn't any sort of monotony. You just kind of, you feel like you get to play the game your way. So
yeah, of course, and I feel like that with all Far Cry games pretty much. Like you can play it the way you want to play it. However, with Far Cry 6, I feel like they've just. It feels like the other Far Cry games. I don't think there's anything really innovative here. There's nothing pushing boundaries. It's very similar to the other Far Cries. But yeah, you do get a lot of stuff early on. I noticed that like there's this guy that you meet right away in the game, Juan something.
Juan Cortez.
Yeah, and he's got a bunch of different weapons, like specialty weapons. The
yeah,
Supremo,
like the first hour.
Yeah, and basically you can run around and gather up the iridium that you need to basically buy all his stuff within a few hours. And that's pretty crazy because those are like really fun and crazy weapons and stuff. But yeah, I've been having a blast with it, man. And again, for me, I don't get open world fatigue. I never have. And so like I can jump in from a Far Cry game, go into a Ghost of Tsushima, then go into something else that's open world and have a blast. Like I can put in hours upon hours in games that are fun to me. This to me, you have to love the gameplay loop, period. If you don't like the gameplay loop for Far Cry 5, you're not going to like it here. It's pretty much the same.
It is definitely like what to expect from a Far Cry game that you love. And this world, this like Latin country, they're never real country, but this like fictitious Latin country is much like you saw in Far Cry 3. It's even though Far Cry 4 is in like Indonesia or Tibet or whatever, like they're very, very similar. The one that really shook it up was Far Cry 5, which I love that game as much as I love 3 in a lot of ways. So you're not getting a different, crazy new world in this game, and I think that's okay. It is something you have to think about.
Yeah, if you're on the fence about it and you enjoyed Far Cry 5, I don't see why you wouldn't enjoy this one. But there's a lot of people out there that are straight up just like hating on the game because they're saying, well, it's a Ubisoft game. Ubisoft's games are all the same. Yeah, and I just think that's, a bit unfair because they're not all the same. They do have different games. You've got, what is it? The shooter, the one you play multiplayer.
Ghost Recon, you've got Division, you've got Rainbow Six Siege.
Division, 1 and 2. Yeah. They're different types of games. They're not the same. This game.
When I look at Ubisoft games, I see you can cut a game into 4 pieces, and every Ubisoft game has one big quarter chunk of one of their other games. Like the Division and Ghost Recon share a lot of the same third-person mechanics and combat scenarios, and like that's okay because they kind of work together. And as you get down the line, like Division 2 is better. And Ghost Recon was, it's a cool feel as it kind of moves forward. I don't know. People complain. These teams are huge. They're making a lot of different games. We were talking in the party chat the other night, Fonz, about how I said that Ubisoft, they make really great games. They just never have really made like life-changing, like game-defining games. They always just like have this recipe.
You mean there's not really a generational defining game? Like it's
like you can't look at a Ubisoft game not in a long time and say like this is, especially this past 10 years. What I think and this is not a knock at Ubisoft. What I think Ubisoft looks at like a recipe and they find out what everybody likes and they throw those into the mix and they make you a really great like dessert, like a really cool game that you can enjoy and people say, yeah, I really like that game. But it's not going to be one of those things where like you have to play it. It'll change your life.
I mean, I look at the games and I go, well, do I like the gunplay? That's a big one. Do I like the mechanics in the gameplay loop? That's a huge part of it. If I like those things, I'll sit there for, up to 75 hours and play a game.
Yeah.
Brian Hopkins says, the Far Cry gameplay loop is so good. The weapons and gunplay are a lot of fun in this iteration. It's 100% right. I feel like it's really, really fun. I have no problems with the gunplay, the gameplay loop. If you're not into it, though, if you haven't been into a Far Cry game in the last 3-4 games, then yeah, I mean, by all means, don't buy it. Don't play it.
I think those people know that they wouldn't like Far Cry 6. I don't know why why they chirp up on social media or on other platforms. So, sometimes I feel like people know they're not going to like a game. And as we were talking about Battlefield, like some people are like, there was a little bit of an argument this morning, Fonz, because I was saying that I'm a proponent of if a game is looking like it's not polished, it's okay to delay it. Like, it'll be better off for everybody. The publisher will get more money when the game lands better. The fans will be more happy. And some people are like, well, you're only saying that because you want Halo to have the spotlight. It's like, I didn't make Halo. And I have no vested interest in whatever just because Xbox is my favorite platform. Like, it's just one of these things that it's super important for a game to launch great and have that great reception because they gave it their all and the publisher wasn't, squeezing them by the back of the neck and saying, look, quarter four. And I think that's one of the problems in the industry right now is the publishers have all the power.
Of course.
And fans are letting them do it because, this is so hard to say, but I think we like to think that we're okay with delays, Fonz, but I feel like a big chunk of the community is so ingrained in instant gratification that they're tired of waiting that they know, Fonz, you're going to hate this.
Okay.
I want to hear your thoughts, but
all right.
I think they know that they're going to fix it later and it's going to be fine. I'll just work through the rough part of the game when I first pay the $60 or $70. Fonz, what are your thoughts on like all these people? I feel like I'm interviewing you all of a sudden.
No.
What are your thoughts on these people that are like, it's okay, I want the game now, I'm tired of waiting, they'll fix it. And when they fix it, it'll be even better.
It's simple. They're wrong. They're completely wrong. You don't want games to come out unfinished, period. I mean, that's the reason why they get such flack in the community. That's the reason why they get bad meta score reviews and all this. And it's the reason why we don't like a lot of video games half the time when they first drop because they have issues. And I'm sorry, but if a game drops and it's got serious problems, I'm not going to want to play it. I'm going to sit there and say, I'll wait till it's patched. And what's the point of waiting till it's patched? Or what's the point of buying a game for $60 or $70 and then just waiting on a patch? It's stupid. Like, delay the game if that's the case. One thing I will say about Far Cry 6, though, is I'm not seeing any kind of game-breaking bugs so far. I've had tiny little bugs here and there. Yeah,
I had a couple. I had a funny one. I'll tell it for the sake of it being slightly entertaining. But in a mission, one of the main characters told me to get in the back of a enemy cargo truck and drive to a location. And while we're in the truck, I'm sitting. I can't do anything other than turn like 60 degrees back and forth. And he was getting shot at and rammed by an enemy vehicle. I couldn't see. I could just see the inside of the aluminum steel truck. And he kept repeating a dialogue over and over because the enemy would interrupt his dialogue chain the way the games are programmed. So he'd say, I was supposed to go over to the place and I was supposed to go. And then he would like use a Spanish swear word. And I was kind of like, I'm sitting there. I can't do anything. And the thing caught on fire and he got out and left. And I'm like sitting in there. And then it said mission failed. But when it reloaded it back, it was fine after that. But open world bugs.
Yeah, I fell into a little issue where I started a mission and I died midway through, and then I didn't see any kind of checkpoint. I didn't know what to do. Like, I ended up like doing other missions, and then I came back and to this one area, and all of a sudden I see the lady that I was with, for that mission, and she was just standing there waiting for me the whole time. So I walked up to her and we continued, and I was like, oh,
and it worked.
Wow. Yeah, that's where it was. Yeah, because I totally forgot like what I was doing at the time. Like if I could redo it, she was completely gone, and then she just came back and she was just standing there, and I was like, "Wow, okay, we can finish this." So little things like that have happened, but nothing too crazy. Risk it for the biscuit. For $8 says, "I'm a massive Battlefield player. fan, was ranked 8th in Australia, and I want them to delay Battlefield so it's ready. Wow. Tell us what kind of problems you had in the chat, man. I really want to know why you want them to delay this so bad. So he also says the Ascent broke too many times, so he gave up. Yeah, the Ascent had a lot of bugs. It's one of the reasons why I stopped playing it too. And that's the thing again, man.
Yeah.
When you get games like that.
Game.
But when
I
you
had
get games
one
that,
side mission. Yeah.
But when you have games that have bugs like that and you start to play and it really starts to annoy you, these bugs, and you just quit on it, sometimes people don't go back to those games when they're patched. That's why I have a feeling like Cyberpunk, a lot of people aren't going to go back to that game when it is patched and all done. So,
no, I don't. I think some people will, but I mean,
it's going to be a rarity. I don't think a lot of people are going to do it. Not all the people that were saying that we're going to do it. I doubt they will. Stubbs Gaming says, great show, Fonz, and it's good to hear Colt. It's great to hear Colt. I'm glad he showed up today. I was like, you know what? Do you want to come on the show? And he's like, no, I don't really want to, but I talked him into it. I sent him some money, and he said, sure, he'll do the show.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
No, somebody's going to clip that and say, listen, Colt is charging now. No, Colt's a good friend.
And he's only charging $2. Yeah, it's funny.
Cerebral Paul, man, I got to play with Cerebral in Halo Infinite last weekend, and it was great. Finally able to get in a party chat with him, talk with him, play the game. Him, along with the rest of Fun Speculation, had a great time, man. He says, just saying hello and supporting the show. I appreciate you, Paul.
Good people.
Awesome. Yeah, no, Paul's a good dude, man. And it's
I talk to him a lot on. I talk to him sometimes on my channel, but I talk to him a lot on social media. So, yeah.
Yep. Rain G4, 100%, man. Games should work, no excuse. They should work day one. They shouldn't have day one patches are fine, but after that, the game should work. So, Hargeet, I swear, man, this guy, he's such a freaking supporter of the show, and I see him everywhere. Yep. Hargeet is an XNC. He's an RDX. He's over at Game On Daily. He's everywhere. I see him in Chatter Days, for Miles Tompier.
Yeah, there's an example of
such a good guy.
I mean, there's so many of these people. Hargeet's one of them that loves the hobby.
Yes.
Never complains. Always talks about like how we can make it better. What's he have to say today?
He says, I think Ubisoft hasn't made any new franchises except South Park for like a decade. They did create those Just Dance games for folks that like those. Yeah, you know what? Fun fact, Dealer Gaming loves Just Dance. He has
what?
Just Dance
what are you
1
doing?
through 4. He loves them.
And SingStar. He loves SingStar as well.
Oh, gosh, man. He's amazing at, vocals. Amazing.
Hargeet wasn't Watch Dogs something they created in like 2014? So that would be one of their new IPs. I wonder if that's really true. No, about new. I mean, Riders Republic's a new IP, but of course he's talking about like big franchises, like big names. So maybe Watch Dogs and South Park could be it.
Yep.
South Park's not a new IP. South Park came out in like 99 or something, 98.
Yeah. It's a long time ago. And they've had several South Park games, but by different, creators and developers, publishers, all that. Neo Game Spark. Damn, I'm surprised Fonz is still alive after all those early Perfect Dark comments. If I could hear someone lining up a sniper shot, that was the moment. What? Refresh my memory. What early Perfect Dark comments?
I'll refresh your memory, Fonz.
I'm sure you know
a couple days after you and I were both upset in the moment we first read the tweet. Your tweet was just a little more acerbic than mine, but a couple days later, us as RDX pals in a little private chat, I put your face on the Burger King mascot, and we had some good laughs about that.
Yeah. Put a green cheeseburger in my hand, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, an Xbox cheeseburger. Yeah. No, but
I'm still alive, and it's surprising, and especially because, I had a bad take, and I realized it, after I started talking to people.
I had a bad take.
Sometimes that happens. We're not perfect, and sometimes we jump the gun.
I was with you, Fonz. Like you tweeted, and I got on the phone with Randall Thor, and you talked to Randall Thor after your tweet.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you called Rand and his line was busy, but I was upset about, I mean, we won't get into it. I was upset about them saying we're early in development. I'm like, what? Like, I thought we'd be seeing this game next year, like, as a showcase.
I think the thing you got to understand is when they say they're early in development, it is early. However, it's not pre-production as so many people were putting it out there, saying that they were just drawing it up and just writing it out right now, going,
Todd Howard recently said they're early in development for Starfield, and they're trying to get that game out in 1 year from now. So you have to really give a moment to think, what does early development mean? But you and I at first were like, early development.
And of course, we knew that they had a playable version of Perfect Dark.
Yep.
So, and that was going back to 2020. Excuse me. But yeah, so it's I'm alive, Neo. I'm alive, and that's all I can say. It's good to see you here, though, man. Neo, if you don't know Neo GameSpark, check out his channel. Awesome creator. I love following him and going into his Q&As and just hearing him out, seeing what everybody has to ask him. They always have so many questions for Neo. It's crazy. Nobody ever has questions for me like that. But Neo, he I don't know, man. Dude's got it going on. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Let's go ahead and talk about something that, a lot of people want to know about this, and we're going to have a deep dive discussion into this because it's really the main topic of the show. And I think that I'm going to play a little clip here of Jim Ryan, and of course, you guys know that this is Jim Ryan talking about. Well, you'll hear it in the clip, and
let's get ready for this.
Yeah, let's go ahead and listen to this, guys.
I hope the PlayStation 5, and I really believe the PlayStation 5 will be Sony's biggest and best and most loved PlayStation yet. I hope that will happen. I'd also like to see a world where the games that we make at PlayStation can be enjoyed by many tens of millions of people, perhaps hundreds of millions of people. Because right now, success with the existing console model, a really great PlayStation hit, you're talking 10 or 20 million people able to play that game. And if you compare that, and we're talking about games stacking up against music, we're talking about games stacking up against movies. Music and movies, they can be enjoyed by almost limitless audiences. And I think some of the art that our studios are making is some of the finest entertainment that's been made anywhere in the world. And to kind of gate the audience for the wonderful art, the wonderful entertainment these studios are making, to gate the audience for that at 20 or 30 million frustrates me. And I'd love to see a world where hundreds of millions of people can enjoy those games.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Okay, so what do you think about that?
I hate you so much. That was so great. The look on Christopher Dring's face when he realizes that Jim Ryan is saying, I want to do what Xbox is doing.
Of course, it's all jokes at the end there, folks. I mean, if you can't take a joke, I mean, but seriously, it does make you kind of wonder. Of course, they call him Jim Dance Moves Ryan. And they don't call him that for nothing. He says a lot of stuff out there, but is he serious about this one?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's two reasons. One, they want to make more money, and they have every right, and that's the smart thing to do. The other thing, I said this yesterday on Game On Daily, on Game On Live, Go Live they call it. They want to make more money, but PlayStation's exclusives are so good and so well done and so high quality, there's no reason they should be locked down to 10 to 20 million people on one console that is hard to get right now. So, yeah, I think that's the smartest thing they can do.
Well,
More people
of course,
need to be able to play them.
The way I look at it is they hired Jim for a reason. He's a numbers guy. He's a business guy. And that's what he's here for the company to do. He's to come in and make more money for the company. It's that simple. And for people to say, and that's why I titled the way I did with this video. And I said, Sony following Xbox's lead, because that seems like that's what they're doing, Colt.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like Jim Ryan is sounding more like Phil Spencer right now in this interview. When you listen to him talk, and he wants to hit all these, these goals, and he wants to reach out to hundreds of millions of gamers out there, not just the PlayStation gamers. And I was listening to the Iron Lords podcast earlier, and they had some great takes on this situation. But they were saying that, the PlayStation gamers aren't enough. That was their big quote of the show. Kept saying PlayStation gamers aren't enough for Sony.
Yeah.
I think they're enough, but I think Sony just wants more. Just like Xbox, any business, they want more consumers, period. And that's what Jim Ryan was here to do for Sony. And that's what he's going to do. I mean, look, they've got more games on PC. They're going to continue to put more games on PC. Now, will they go day and date? That's another topic.
I think they've been saying this for a long time, and a lot of PlayStation fans haven't wanted to hear it because, Sean Layden said things like AAA gaming is not sustainable. Mm-hmm. And they know that it's really expensive. You put a lot of investment forward to make a big 5 to 6 year developed game that is like a blockbuster. And I think they've been slowly trying to warm their fans up to a changing of their perspective, where when you buy a PlayStation console, you're not in this special country club for $500 or $400. That their games are big and they want to make them bigger. And if you look at a game like Marvel's Spider-Man in 2018, had great gameplay, incredible visuals, it had a touching, good story that, hit me when I played it. Like, that is a game that should never be forgotten, and it should be played for many people. It doesn't mean put it on Xbox, and it's not about the cloud. What they mean is like those games are big, and if you buy that game on PC from the PlayStation ecosystem, you're a PlayStation customer, and you're playing that game the way you want to play. And I listen to my music on my phone. I listen to it on my PC. I listen to it in my car. I listen to my music that I own anywhere I want. And Phil's been saying that for a long time. Sean Layden tried to say it. It looked like they tried to push him out for saying that gaming should not be a walled garden. It is your place to connect with other gaming folk, was his quote from 2018.
Interesting you bring up that guy, Sean Layden. Sean Layden was also the man who said something. I forgot the direct quote, but he said something a couple of years back where he was talking about console gamers and how they're not really growing. Mm-hmm. And some are actually even falling off. And at the time I was like, nah, I don't believe that. I think we have more console gamers today, which we do. But I kind of understand what he means, that there's, it seems like if you look at how these games are selling, they're not selling as much as you would think, with people saying having 115 million consoles out there or whatever, or even today with this new generation, you've got 15 million PS5s, and you've only got 1 million in sales for an exclusive of theirs. It's like it's not selling as much as you would think. So it sounds like they have been looking into other avenues, other platforms, other ways of getting content out there. So
yes.
And this is something that we've said on RDX for years. I mean, we could go back 3 years ago when we were talking about how when Xbox was starting up this whole Game Pass thing and putting games on PC day and date, we were saying that, Sony will follow suit eventually, only because the industry is changing. And people have to understand that this is an industry-wide thing. And just because Xbox seems to be on the forefront of certain things like xCloud, Game Pass, Just because they're in the forefront doesn't mean that nobody else is going to do it, especially if these are successful. And so far, by all means, we can only view it as being successful. There's nothing else to tell us that it's not successful. They're continuing to pour more and more money in it, and they've even said that they have billions of dollars just put aside for Game Pass.
Yep.
So it's pretty crazy that we're seeing, this whole change in the industry, and Sony is adapting slowly but surely. And I think I'm not sure if it was you or Rand that had told me recently that they're slowly doing things and making moves, so it's not just like this one big move to really just jar people, their consumer base.
Yeah, I've said that. I've likened it to the old adage of a frog in a pot of water. If you turn it up to boiling, they'll just hop out, but you have to do it slowly.
Yep.
I don't know who is boiling frogs, but the way that the PlayStation fanboy base reacts to exclusivity or non-exclusivity or play anywhere or everything that Xbox is doing, and I could see why, because the only true exclusives are really, I don't know if true exclusive is the right word, but the only one who is closing in their games is Nintendo.
Yeah.
Nintendo doesn't put their games on PC. PlayStation has been recently. Of course, they're going to ramp it up big time. I mean, Nixus was brought in for that express purpose to make sure that, Nixus isn't going to take all their games and put on PC. Naughty Dog can already do that. Sony Santa Monica can already port to PC. They're building them on a PC and a dev kit. So that's not a problem. It's just letting their fan base know, hey, PC players are going to be able to buy this game on Steam, and you don't have to ask for permission.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw it anytime a new PC game comes out, an older Sony game comes out on PC, you see the fan base get really riled up. Yeah, it's certain people. It's not always, it's not the entire fan base, of course, but there are a bunch of people, the fanboys in the community that really get upset. And it's something they're going to have to deal with, because we're going to see more and more Sony games going to PC. Day and date, I don't know. One of the things that a lot of people worry about, and I know my good friend Ramon out there, he's got all the consoles. He plays his games wherever they're at. He's not a fanboy, but he says he kind of worries about PlayStation going day and date with PC, because he's wondering about the whole world building and everything that surrounds, an SSD drive. He doesn't want to be limited to mechanical drives. Do you think that would be a real issue for PlayStation?
No. I mean, we had that whole conversation about a month ago about how it was possible that Rift Apart, Ratchet and Clank could be done on a regular drive. I just don't think games are built that way, Fonz. I don't think that games are built on the precipice that they have to have SSD throughput and output. I just don't think that's how games are made. But maybe in a couple years, when they start developing something where they want to be able to, I'll put it this way. Remember when they said the SSD on the PS5 so amazing? Look at Spider-Man 2018 in this build.
Yeah,
you can fast travel in 2 seconds. So you can build a game that's built for a conventional hard drive, and the people who are still on a conventional hard drive will have to wait longer. Game design is not predicated on an SSD. And Linus Tech Tips did a whole suite about this 6 months ago, about how you get people in different PC configurations and they can't tell the difference in performance or pop-in because of a nice hard drive or a super fast NVMe M.2 SSD. So I don't think there's some truth there, but I don't think it really hinges on game design being held back by SSD. Game design is held back by CPU configurations with GPUs. There's so many different hardware sets when you go to PC. Some people have,
and don't you think
my son has a 6 or 7 year old CPU in the PC that I used to have that I gave to him.
Yeah,
that the family uses. But that thing could still play AAA games right now at a lower fidelity. So game developers don't create something that's so bespoke that only a certain tiny amount of people, that's not in their benefit.
And
they
I
just
think
don't design games that way.
We're getting to the point, too, where people don't have really, really ancient computers, and they're not really trying to push those to game.
I mean, those people aren't trying to buy the biggest and the best new game.
And I think as NVMEs go down in price, you're going to see more people adopt. And that's just how it goes with any tech. I mean, in the TV world, it's the same way. People buy cheap, those that can't afford, really expensive stuff. But when that stuff gets on the same level of what they used to buy, they buy it, they adopt. And I think that's what's going to end up happening with, that's what ends up happening with PCs and stuff. Not their graphics cards, apparently, because those things seem to be just going up in price because of all the data mining and all that stuff. But
oh, my gosh.
It's crazy.
And chip shortages, yeah.
Yeah, risk it for the biscuit. $8 here says, if Jim's smart, he sets up as a Sony-type Epic Game Store on PC, keeping it in their ecosystem, it will help Sony fans accept it. That's how it'll happen. What do you think about that? If he has an Epic Game Store.
I often
that would be like a Windows store, right?
I mean, they're already going to Steam, so
yeah.
Risket's right. Like, I thought the same thing. They're smart if they just come up with a PlayStation storefront, and there's so much friction for that, and it takes so much time to get that moving. So Risket's got such a great point, but I don't think they can do that unless they get 25 or 30 PlayStation games ready to launch with this new service. And it'd have to be like the best of the best, and then get all these other third-party teams on board to fill in the store. I think the best move for PlayStation is just to launch on Steam. And they already started doing that. So they'll just use Steam. They'll get their 70% cut or whatever it is, and they will rake in a lot of money, because when Xbox or PlayStation put their exclusives on Steam, they are the top seller that season while it's launched. So you can't lose.
Well, look how well Horizon Zero Dawn and Days Gone have done. Mm-hmm. Being put on PC. They've done really well. Days Gone's probably sold more on PC than it did on PlayStation.
Yep.
It's insane. Like, and that's the thing. Like, the industry is changing so much to where these businessmen, because that's what they are, these companies are looking at ways of making more money, looking at more ways of us to consume their products, and that's going to have to be on other platforms. That's why Microsoft has been on the forefront of this when it comes to Game Pass. They'll put it anywhere, and I've said this last week with Rand, and we've said it, Colt. They'll put it on any platform. They'll put it on Sony's platforms if they would let them.
Yeah, I agree.
Game Pass, they want Game Pass everywhere. And that doesn't bother me. I'm not a fanboy of any company. I don't care where these games are. Wherever they're at, I will play them. But if I could get these games, say, like, buy a console and I have, a service on that console that gets the other console's games, and I don't have to buy that other console, that's a great thing, too.
Yep.
Like, there's no reason to be upset about it. I really don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I won't play. Luckily for me, and I'm grateful that I have a PS5, I will never buy and play a PlayStation exclusive on PC. I'll play it on console. And honestly, I know people talk about how much better PC is in so many ways and reasons, and you and I are like on the same page, Fonz. But right now, I think if you can find a console, you're way better off. If you can find an Xbox or PS5, these games look... you could probably put them side by side. They look so similar. Yeah. And they run so great. And it's just a $500 console versus a $1,500 or $2,000 PC. Like, you cannot get the price near the same right now. I mean, with chip shortages.
Just looking at Digital Foundry's latest video at Far Cry 6 and the comparisons there, they had this Xbox Series X next to, ultra settings on a 3090 and, it looked fantastic. Does it look as good? No, but it looks close, and it looks damn good, and it performs well. That's the bottom line. These consoles, even the PlayStation 5, it looks great and performs great. There's no reason to shy away from these consoles and be like, it's not good enough. Yeah, it's great enough. But yeah, this Hargeet says my PC costs $4,500. Wow. It's an expensive PC. And you'll have some great looking games on there. But the Series X and the PlayStation 5, for what they do, are really, really quality, machines.
Yeah.
I'm blown away by what I get. Honestly, when I used to game on PC way back in the day and I would compare it to console, yeah, it blew away the console. And I looked at it and I said, man, that doesn't look as good as my PC. But nowadays, it's just that gap is not the same. You sure you'll get stuff like ray tracing and stuff like that, but I really don't even care about ray tracing personally.
We have this discussion, don't we, with some of our friends that are always playing on PC, like with a thick $6,000 rig, like it looks unbelievable, and I'm thinking, how much more unbelievable for 12 times the price? We'll see. Yeah.
But the thing is, at the end of the day, I just would like to say that Sony is making changes. They're not going to stick to the tradition of just exclusive games, stick to their console and stay there forever. It's not going to happen. It's not. They're going to be moving stuff to PC. Will it get to day and date? I don't even know about that. I won't say they will, but I think they'll get closer. I think maybe even a 6-month window. I could see that.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't think that's a bad thing. I've never seen it as a bad thing when Xbox did it and said, hey, all our games are going to PC day and date. It didn't bother me, Colt. I didn't sit there and go, no, don't do it. I was just like, okay, whatever.
But what does anyone have to benefit from them waiting 6 months or 3 years to put a PlayStation exclusive on Steam?
Well, what it is people like to say that it devalues their console.
What? Who cares?
Why
does
do you
PlayStation care about you devaluing their console? I just told you guys that you could get like the performance of $1,000+ PC on those games for $500 on a PS5. Like that, you've already paid for itself. Yeah. Like, how does it devalue? Like, I really feel like if Fonz, you're gonna love this. I will not name names, but there was a pretty strong PlayStation fan in the chat yesterday on Gaz's and Ace's show that said, "Hey, man, it's okay. Just as you can brag all you want, but just as long as it's not day and date on PlayStation to PC." And I'm like, why would you brag about that? Like, this person already owns a PC, so they can circumvent owning an Xbox console and not be tainted by the green X of the Microsoft gaming platform, right?
Yeah.
But they're like, please, just wait. Give the PC guys the special treatment of PlayStation greatness. Please wait until after we've had a chance to have it first, because we're in the country club. We bought your $500 console first. That is such an archaic way of thought. And when Jim Ryan was sitting there with Christopher Dring, he was trying to explain to him, like, did you see how he had to dance around it? Dance moves, Ryan. He had to prepare their audience, because this is something they've been working toward for years, for at least 3 years, because we started to hear about it in the community and us who like report on the early announcements 3 years ago.
Yep.
In 2018, almost 4 years ago, Fonz. I think like 2 months short of 4 years they've been hiring for this. Yep. They want their games on PC. And as far as worrying about day and date, I think day and date is a discussion that you might as well ignore, because that must be what they're working toward.
Maybe.
It has to be.
But even if they were,
but why?
It doesn't bother me.
Here's another thing, Fonz. That same person told me, look, it's okay, because on PlayStation they don't do it day and date. They just have you double dip. And he was championing that PlayStation wants you to double dip, when Phil Spencer called out PlayStation for having you buy the game on console and then turning it around and selling it to you again on PC at a better fidelity, with more possibility, and without a console limit. Like, that is not something to celebrate.
These are the same people that are saying that if you're on Xbox and you have Game Pass Ultimate, you better be buying those Game Pass games as well to support the developers, which is just insane.
Yeah,
there's a reason why you pay that monthly price, and it's to get these games all in one place and have fun with them. It's not to go, so that you can spend that monthly price and then spend a $60 price tag on top of that to buy the game.
Aren't we still dumb? Like, when I buy, what's the next Xbox exclusive to come out? Forza Horizon 5, right? When I buy Forza Horizon 5 on my Series X, don't I still get a PC version for free with that purchase?
Yep. Yep.
I mean, it's not
I
even
think
about
so.
double dipping. It's like that is the. It drives me crazy. But I
I'm
mean,
not sure.
in that respect, Xbox has. You don't get the Steam version; you get the Windows version, which is almost identical. But PlayStation doesn't have that luxury, I suppose, because they don't have their own store, which is what Risk is saying, that if they had their own store, they could incentivize their fans. Like, we're so sorry we're putting our game on PC, but if you have a PC, you get two versions, and your brother can play it in the other room on your computer that you use to circumvent the Green X.
Shout out to D-Batch. He's listening to us while driving,
Yes,
I believe. Shout out to you, man. I don't understand this question, really. Lord Nader says, guys, check out the Lumen reflections on Unreal 5. I couldn't believe and don't need dedicated hardware. It's incredible. Do you know anything about that?
Is Lord Nader, is that a new Unreal Engine 5 demo, or the one that we saw about 4 months ago with the female character fighting like the Aztec robot boss? I don't know. I know that pretty well, but
Yeah, let us know.
Gonna be really nice. A lot of games we built on that.
But yeah, I think in the end, Colt, what they're doing is what these guys are afraid of is the consoles going away. And this is what I say to anybody who has that fear.
No.
Consoles are not going away as long as there's demand. And there is big demand for consoles still. They will be a big part of this space for years and years to come. I don't see consoles going away for generations to come. I just think that you have to think that way. If you see anything like xCloud or any cloud-based service, do they work well? Yeah. If you have great internet, they work fantastic. But we don't have the best infrastructure. No, nobody really does. I mean, there's some great spots in the world and even here in America, but for the most part, it's not taking over. Put that worry aside. Consoles are here to stay.
I have a
for a while.
I have a opposite opinion on that. Like, I see only on Xbox say consoles will never die. I think in the future,
it would take.
I'll make a bold claim. In and around 2035 or 2040, in the future.
Boy.
Yeah. I think that streaming will become so ubiquitous, so seamless. I remember on live, 10, 15, 12 years ago, like, it worked great for a lot of people, but internet was mostly DSL. There weren't a lot of broadband users in 2008, 2009. And you fast forward 10 years and internet doesn't do this steady climb. It has exponential growth. So I think that one day consoles will go away. You and I will be fairly old, Fonz. We'll still be gaming.
I think I'll see that
there
day.
will be, I'll put it this way. If I can sync this up to my smart TV and launch the Xbox app and play games and feel like, that makes me forget I don't have a console connected to my TV. I actually think that reality isn't too far off. Maybe in a few years.
I agree with that part, but I don't see the consoles going away. I don't see them going away for.
Well, that PlayStation and Xbox have still said we still want to make one or two more console generations. So you're looking in 10 or 15 years. Did you ever think that you would not use your CD collection, or you would stop using your DVDs? And I know those don't take.
You're right.
Those take like a little processor to run a DVD player and a CD player and stuff like that. But you can't stop. You got to let technology take over. And just imagine one day you may just pay. I don't know how they're going to Well, they don't have to offset it. The console is like a financial burden for the consumer and the manufacturer. Like Microsoft and Sony lose a little bit of money or break even just to get you a console, a vehicle to sell you the games. If there's eventually a time where they feel like millions and millions and millions of people can just sign in to the service and buy their games and stream them, one day that'll be really great.
See,
and I think when we're worried about consoles going away, we will not have cared that they're going away. That's what I'm getting
the biggest point.
That's what
you have to be at the point in your life where these consoles or these games run just as smoothly as any console, and I don't see that happening everywhere. And that's the thing. they're going to cut a lot of people out if they're going to do that.
I mean, right now you can play Far Cry 6 isn't on xCloud, but you could play a brand new game on Series X hardware and get the 60 FPS performance streamlined thing on a controller on a device. There's hitches here and there as the internet is wavering, but eventually that's the point I want to make. When you're worried about consoles going away, it'll probably be the time when you didn't really think you needed them anymore because you were just fine streaming your stuff or digitally on a device that you didn't have to load up. So it's so far off. It's not even a worry.
Well, it's crazy because I know the last time I checked, our infrastructure here in America is not very good. Like, we are way down there, like 20-something.
Internationally,
world
we're down,
rankings. And that's the thing. Like, you can't rely on internet, not everybody anyway, to play their games. And also there's data caps to worry about and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's going to take many generations before I feel consoles will be out of the picture. But I think at the same time, what you're calling for, where we're having this cloud-based service be seamless and feel really good and strong, I think that's a lot sooner. I think that's going to happen within the next 5 years. I think that could happen next 5 years. So, I mean, technology's always moving, man. We've got a couple of super chats here. Lord Nader says it's a new way to do reflections on Unreal 5 without ray tracing. They did a new video dedicated to that. Oh, that's awesome. I'd like to see that because ray tracing is such a resource hog from what I know about it. So that would be really good. Because Unreal 5, man, Unreal 5 is looking incredible, man. We're going to have to look that up. That's going to be a good one to look into. Hargeet with the 5 says, you missed one of my super chats. Oh, did I? Xboxes are selling out even though games are on PC day and date. Until cloud is available, consoles will be around cheaper and easier. I agree with that, Hargeet, but I don't remember missing one of yours. Did I really? Don't remember that.
There is a way to check.
A couple of yours.
If you go to
if you want to just put it out in the chat for me, and I'll read it.
Put it out if you remember what to write. But Fonz, you can open up a new tab and go to your monetization settings, and you'll be able to see your most recent supers. So you'll be able to recover that if he doesn't remember exactly what he wrote. But you can do that while he's bringing it up. But that's the way I feel about that situation with people's fears of consoles leaving, because a lot of people hate xCloud for that reason alone. They think that xCloud is somehow going to just get rid of their, need for consoles. So I know consoles are expensive to make, the R&D for them alone, and then, they sell them usually at a loss in the beginning, and then they start to make some money on revisions and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, there is still a large demand for consoles, and I don't think they're going away anytime soon. Yeah.
But other than that...
Hargeet wrote what he... You want me to read it for you?
Yeah, go ahead.
He says, here's what I had. A potential for PlayStation to use Amazon Luna to host a PlayStation channel for their games. This gives them both PC and cloud without investing in hardware in the cloud. Fonz, are they kind of committing, or have they already been working with Microsoft? But Hargeet's got a good idea. Work with their direct competitor.
I don't know. Is that smart? Because you might have to divulge some secrets. I don't know.
Well, I mean, Amazon being one of Microsoft and Xbox's direct competitors in cloud and gaming now.
Oh, well, so look at Sony. They've already purchased a bunch of, the servers for Microsoft.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if they're already kind of invested into building up their infrastructure with Microsoft. Yeah,
I think they are. And matter of fact, they even said that they're getting a lot of input from Microsoft. Sony is gathering a lot of input from Microsoft to build upon this. And they will delve into this area. Come on. They're looking at this closely. They're monitoring what Xbox is doing. It's their direct competition. Especially this, I think this generation, it's a completely different Microsoft than what we saw last generation. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, they're watching them even closer. And you know, they're going to emulate some of this stuff. Of course they are.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we are already 10 minutes past the hour of the show. I didn't even realize that, folks.
That's what happens when Fonz and I get together.
Yeah, that's what happens. It was great to have you, man. Seriously, thank you. Thank you to the chat. The chat was awesome. The chat had a lot to say, and I know one guy came in trying to get you guys to go over to another show. You didn't do that, and I appreciate that and respect you guys for that. But yeah, some guys
why would you want to be
said,
anywhere but here?
Yeah,
like, this is Games Talk Live.
Well, the guy's like, hey, guys, this show sucks or whatever. Come to this show. And I'm like, what? Like, who are you? But anyway.
Yeah, well over 200 people here hanging out with us.
Yeah, I really respect that.
Like a really nice, relaxing Sunday, and we're talking about how somebody's going to come take your consoles away from you.
Yeah, take your consoles away, take my audience away. They're trying to take everything away from me, man. Anyways, let us know where they can find you and all that stuff. You guys know.
Before we do that, let me
go ahead.
I've known you for a long time, Fonz.
Go ahead.
I got to plug your show because, I've been watching you make content. Every time you make a video, all of us guys that in the YouTube sphere that we're always talking, Dealer and Rand and Soccer and I and we're always talking about when you make something, we got to check out Fonz because Fonz. He's a classic content creator, and he's got these skits, and doesn't take it seriously. So yeah, definitely, you guys who are supporting Fonz's show are awesome. Games Talks Live is always super fun. I love the stuff you're doing, Fonz.
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you guys for subscribing to him and checking out the show. Because there's no reason for me to tell you where I am, because I'm on Twitter every day, tweeting nonstop. I try to reply to everyone, whether you're a jerk or whether you're a nice person. And we're just having a good time. Fonz, we're going to be playing Far Cry later tonight before you go to work, right?
Yeah.
So,
we'll
yeah. But thank you so much for having me on your show. All the people in the chat, I recognize everybody's names. They're amazing.
Of course you do.
Yeah, these are such good people that come here to get entertained and learn a couple things. And I think really you guys are just supporting what we do, and that means a lot. So thank you so much.
It really does. It means a lot. Anyways, you can find Colt at Colt Eastwood on Twitter and Colt Eastwood right here and on YouTube. And he's, he's in the description if you need to find him. I don't know why you wouldn't know where to find him, but he's out there. You can find me, of course, on all the streaming platforms and stuff. Again, hit that like button for me on your way out, guys. And we're going to end the show, and we're going to end the show a little bit differently here, folks. I'm going to end the show with this little gem right here.
Ooh.
Where hundreds of millions of people can enjoy those games.
It's interesting, isn't it?